You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, good.
I'm ready.
You look happy today.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Nisha Jackson Show. That's Nisha Jackson. I'm Rusty Humphries, and we sure are glad you are here. By the way, before we get started, would you please go to her website, nishajackson.com.
Please do.
Yes, nishajackson.com. And what can they find on the website?
You can find more about hormones, testing, supplements. Why should you have your hormones tested? Why do you need balanced? You can find a lot of information.
And I can personally attest that she's good and that the hormone thing makes a difference. So I can personally attest to that. So that's nishajackson.com. One Peak Medical is another good one. And then Brandex, takebrandex.com, takebrandex.com. It promotes your brain focus and your attention and your physical recovery and your stamina. And the pickup sticks, they're good. All right.
They are good.
All right. So last time, Nisha, as I kick the table and make everything feel like we're in an earthquake. Oh no. We were talking about ADD and what it is and all those things. But now we want to talk a little bit more about what makes it worse, because it's getting worse with people, and it's getting more and more prevalent. But what do we do to fix it, and how does it get worse with each person? Did I make any sense there?
Yeah,
okay.
You did.
All right.
So we talked last time, the first show on ADD, which I think is it is an epidemic. It is a pandemic. It is it's affecting more and more people, and I think a lot of it has to do with this brain scramble that people are having, men, women, children, adults for sure, and that's what I'm referring to as adults. I think what's making it worse, I know what's making it worse, is that our whole world has been spinning so quickly. Our lives, our patterns, our daily hurriedness, it's just going so quick, and there's so many things that we're rushing to get to and pack in our schedule. It's like overstimulation, not to mention all of our devices that we're constantly hooked up to, that is constantly sending messages to our brain. No wonder it's becoming an epidemic.
Exactly. I know what you're talking about.
Exactly. So, and what's so interesting to me, and I'm going to get into this right now, is the things that make your brain more scrambled. So we'll just call ADD brain scramble.
Okay.
Because a lot of people that are listening to the show might say, I don't have ADD, but my brain is completely fried. I have brain fog. I can't remember things. My attention is bad. My focus is terrible. My recall is non-existent.
But other than that, I'm great.
But my brain, other than that, is good. So ADD is a lot of different things. And so I just want to talk to you about the things that make ADD worse, because what's so weird about, and this is kind of a dirty trick that I think sometimes our body plays on us, the very thing we crave to do, or the very thing we crave to eat, is the very thing we shouldn't do, or the very thing we shouldn't eat. It's terrible, but you crave it like you want it.
Like sugar.
Well, it's making it worse.
Yeah.
So one of the things that makes ADD worse is inactivity. So if you're just let's say you're just taking Saturday and you're just going to lay around all day because you've had a super busy week and you just need to rest your brain. There isn't any problem with resting.
Okay.
There's no problem with resting, Rusty. There's no problem resting, but the problem is inactivity and generalized just slothiness, where you just come home and just don't do anything, actually makes your brain fog worse. So your brain needs oxygen, and one of the ways it gets oxygen is physical activity. So the research is really clear that physical activity and movement with your body makes your brain more clear. So if you're really struggling with ADD, whether you're on medication for it, natural supplements for it, maybe you've not even been diagnosed with it, or you just have generalized brain scramble, you should not be a sloth.
When you say that, what comes to mind, and I think about long time Netflix binges where I'm doing like 4 or 5, 6 shows in a row at an hour apiece.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I don't want to do anything. And it's all I can think. I dream about the show too. And everything just kind of seems discombobulated.
Yes.
So I think that makes sense.
Yes. So one thing you can think about is, if you want to binge watch a series, because I think that's kind of cool to do that sort of, is to maybe get up and move around in between.
Okay.
I know it's easy just to go right to the next episode, but maybe just moving around would actually help you, because the problem is it's not necessarily that day that you're feeling brain foggy, because who cares when you're just like laying around? It's the next day. And the next day is always Monday, it seems like.
Now, let me ask you this, because one of the things I do to get a little exercise is I try to rush to get to the remote to hit the button so it goes to the next episode faster.
That's really big of you, Rusty.
Yeah, that's probably not the best.
That's not exactly what I'm thinking. Okay, 30 minutes, 5 days a week. That should be your minimum goal. 30 minutes of physical activity 5 days a week.
Okay.
Minimum. If you could do it every day, it would be even better.
Now, is that hardcore, or are you just going for a walk?
You're working out to try to be breathless.
Okay.
So, and you can get breathless intermittent, like interval training, where you become breathless and then you recover for 20, 30, 40 seconds, and then you become breathless again. That means working out to the point of, and then you recover. And so that kind of exercise is really good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The second one is, what makes ADD worse is eating out all of the time, because you can't control the types of fats that you're getting when you eat out. And the types of fats when you have ADD are really important. So if you're going to Mickey D's and you're ordering French fries and a hamburger and you're getting saturated fats, it's going to make your ADD worse.
Quit talking about me.
That's what it does. It makes it worse. And artificial additives, preservatives, colorings, all of those things make ADD worse. The research is actually really clear on this, that fake food, preserved foods, foods that are not known to the human body, they're not recognized by the human bodies, your liver, everything has to get rid of it, detoxify it and get rid of it. So that's not what makes your brain work better. It makes your brain work worse. So so
we're making up all kinds of words.
That's some good English there.
So is a McNugget, would that be known? Probably.
Chicken, I know those little suckers are good. I'm going to admit chicken nuggets are good, but they're the wrong kind of fat for you. So the getting more omega-3 fats rather than omega-6 is very important for
What's the difference?
Okay, so you want more omega-3 because it reduces inflammation in the body. But if you get too much omega-6, which can come from saturated fats, bad fats, trans fats, you will get more of the omega-6. And we don't want inflammation when we're trying to fix your brain, because it makes your brain worse. So we're trying to reduce inflammation. And like I said, artificial colors, additives, junk food, especially sugary drinks. Sugar makes ADD worse. And the problem is that what we're trying to do is we're trying to clear out the cobwebs in the brain. And this show is not just for ADD. This show is for people that feel like their memory is becoming more concerning the older they're getting. Like they just can't remember stuff.
Right.
So these are important facts for anyone that wants their brain to be more optimized. So you cannot be putting things in your body that it doesn't recognize and it doesn't have any use for. So I'm sorry, red dye number whatever is not useful to the human body.
Okay.
So I would suggest that you just don't have it, because it really can change your behavior. There's some interesting research. It goes both ways. And as far as it pertains to eating breakfast. So if you're trying to lose weight as an adult, I would recommend that you go more towards intermittent fasting, because the research on intermittent fasting is really interesting when it comes to the brain. They continue to find more and more ways in which prolonged fasting basically ignites the brain. It completely turns it on. So if you want to power up your brain, in fact, I was just talking to, who I would call him an extreme athlete, a friend of mine.
Thank you.
And I mean, he's a stud. He is super ripped, very in shape, easy on the eyes. Okay, I won't get into all that, but he's really, really healthy. And he's been doing 20-hour fasts a day. Now, that might be too extreme for many of you or most of you, but he goes 20 hours every day. So he basically eats between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. every day. That's where he gets all of his food, is
And I'm
between 1 and
guessing
6.
pizza is not on the list.
No, and he eats well, but he
Yeah.
doesn't have to worry too much about it, but he eats well between 1 and 6 p.m. And he was telling me, he said, Nish, I can't even tell you how powered up my brain is leading up to 6 p.m. I mean, I'm sorry, leading up to 1 p.m. when he begins eating and he breaks his fast. He said, my brain is so dialed in and so on. As soon as I eat, I can feel my brain not working as well.
Interesting.
Because if you think about it, what happens is that when you start eating, your energy will go more towards digestion and not so much towards your brain functioning. Obviously, your brain still functions when you eat. That's, silly to say.
So his brain's not just going, feed me, feed me, feed me.
Yeah. Your resources are going more towards, circulating throughout your body rather than just focusing on digestion or primarily focusing on digestion. So people that are eating all day long, they're really spending more of their body's energy on digestion rather than other things like your immune system, your brain function. So some people do better eating breakfast is what I'm saying, but the right type of breakfast is important. If you're going to eat breakfast, the right type is important. If you eat sugar or foods that turn to sugar quickly, so a bowl of cereal, a muffin, a waffle, pancakes, French toast,
double caramel
anything,
frappuccino, right?
Sugary drinks
the other day,
yes, salted caramel coffee.
You
don't want to be having 42 grams of sugar in the morning. 10 teaspoons of sugar is not what you want to do because you're basically just going into brain fog. So if you have breakfast, I would recommend something that has very high fiber and high protein. High fiber, high protein, because protein is brain food. And that's one of the things that people do when they have ADD is they don't eat protein. So just think about if you want your brain not to work, just don't eat any protein because it will make your brain completely foggy.
That's great advice.
So you have to have protein because protein is amino acids and that's what takes your brain, that's what you need to make your brain work are amino acids. Okay. This is very interesting. I'm getting to my next point now about what makes your brain scramble worse. What makes ADD worse? Clutter. So if you have a lot of clutter in your home and your home is generally disorganized or you have just too much stuff, don't look around my office here. If you just have too much stuff and it's not organized, you will be very anxious, most likely. You will be anxious. You will have problems settling down. You will have problems focusing. So I would suggest that what you should do is if you already have problems with your brain, clean up your house, get your house organized, get things in order. And so you're not looking around at everything that you need to do, making yourself feel more guilty that you haven't organized and you haven't cleaned things up. So I would suggest that you focus on that and start working and living within a non-cluttered, non-messy environment.
And it's not a bad idea anyway. And we've also talked about feng shui and stuff. That's part of that too.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So lastly.
And by the way, her house, do you have like a housekeeper comes every day or is that just you?
I have a housekeeper come every other week because there's some things I just don't want to do.
I don't blame you. But it looks like there's a housekeeper team that comes here every single day. That's how clean it is.
If my house, if things aren't organized and put away and cleaned up, the next morning when I get up, I just go kind of crazy in my head. Like it has to be that way.
There's a lot of little things that make you go a little loopy, isn't there?
I know, but as long as you know what goes crazy in your head, you can kind of deal with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, hoarding. I'm going to say hoarding. I'm not a hoarder, but I do like to collect things.
Okay, what? What do you collect?
Okay, so hoarding actually makes ADD worse, and it's a characteristic of people who have ADD. So if you have ADD, you may find yourself excessively shopping, having too many shoes. Maybe you're collecting things that you don't really need, and it causes more clutter and it causes more stress because the more you have to maintain. So one of the things that you should maybe consider doing is that if you get something new, so one in, one out. If you get something new, something needs to leave. If you're going to add something new to your list, you need to get rid of something else. So 1 in, 1 out might be something that helps people with ADD. I haven't exactly mastered that. I'm still working on that one. 1 in, 1 out. So I'm kind of saying this a little tongue in cheek because that one is a hard one for me, but it is a good idea.
What do you collect, by the way?
Well, I love shoes.
Okay.
I mentioned shoes. I actually do like to shop.
Are you like Louis Vuitton kind of shoes, like that kind of?
No.
Those are like
I like a bargain.
shoes.
I like a bargain, but I love looking at Louis Vuitton shoes, or not Louis Vuitton shoes, but whatever, cool shoes.
Yeah. Okay.
So, lastly, I just want to kind of go back into, which we talked about on the previous show, is just considering helping your brain work better from a concentration and focus standpoint by fixing the dopamine, which is often not optimized when you have ADD. So that's the brain chemical dopamine and norepinephrine. And it can help your brain if you use the AM stress. I like to call this the natural ADD supplement. AM stress is very good for waking up the brain and getting you to focus. You can take this twice a day, morning and afternoon. And then the nighttime one is called the mood one. And the mood, this is for, I'm talking specifically for ADD right now, or people that don't have optimal brain function. If you're on ADD meds, you definitely should be on this supplement because it keeps your serotonin up. And that's the biggest problem with people that take ADD medications is their serotonin level drops or their dopamine level goes really high or it's more optimized, but their serotonin's kind of lagging and they get depressed and anxious and can't sleep. That's why I recommend this supplement because it's an amino acid based supplement. It's very healthy, very good for you. It doesn't have side effects. And it will help balance out the effects of the ADD med. So if you're taking an ADD med, I would recommend you be on this. If you want to take less ADD meds or you want your brain to be more focused during the day, I'd recommend that you take this or both of them.
So when you say this and this for people who are listening.
AM stress during the day, AM stress supplement that optimizes your cortisol and gets you to focus and optimizes dopamine. And then the mood supplement at night that optimizes GABA, the GABA receptors for anxiety, and the serotonin receptors for mood and sleep.
Now, how would I get, they sound like wonderful, wonderful supplements. How would I get these?
You could go to my website, nishajackson.com, and you can order them right there.
All right, so go to nishajackson.com. That's nishajackson.com, where you can get these supplements and many more. And these are really the best of the best supplements out there. Go do that at nishajackson.com. Also,
Brand X.
Brand X. Take Brand X. Would this help with ADD?
This helps open up your brain so you can focus. So if it's 3:00 in the afternoon and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this last project at the end of the day, my brain is fried, or it's a Monday morning and you had kind of a rough weekend, Brand X will help open up your brain so that you can focus and get through that last task. Nice. So I like to take it in the afternoon. It's really tasty.
TakeBrandX.com is where you go.
And one more thing, you can put the Brand X down, sleep. Your brain has to recover. So if you have attention problems, you may need a little bit more sleep, not 4 hours, not 7 hours. You need 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Good sleep. If you're not sleeping, get help for sleep. Take the mood supplement or the sleep supplement. Get to sleep and stay asleep at least 8 to 10 hours. That will help your brain recover so it works better for you the next day. Okay. That's my last point.
All right, that's a great point. TakeBrandX.com is where you get your Brand X. TakeBrandX.com, NishaJackson.com. Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button right there in the corner. And also like us on Facebook. Share it. Let people know.
Share it.
We sure appreciate you. We'll catch you next time. I'm Rusty Humphries. She's Nisha Jackson. And this is The Nisha Jackson Show.